The following program is a UNC Charlotte production.
Welcome inside UNC Charlotte. We get down to business in this edition. First, we look at the work of the top tracker of our region's economy. UNC Charlotte's John Connaughton has produced his highly regarded quarterly economic forecasts for 30 years. Next, a campus institution is taking shape as UNC Charlotte builds the nation's newest college football program from the ground up. We'll meet head coach Brad Lambert and his staff. They're not only recruiting the first team, but a community fan base as well. Our focus on research takes us to the university's work with a byproduct of coal-fired power plants. And we'll find out why the Charlotte Venture Challenge is the region's premier business plan competition. All this coming up inside UNC Charlotte. UNC Charlotte's John Connaughton is a fixture of sorts in our regional and state economies. That's because for 30 years, his quarterly Babson Capital UNC Charlotte Economic Forecast has pinpointed areas of both optimism and concern among our economic sectors.
The first time that in quite some time, since essentially the summer of 2008 when this thing really started to fall apart on us, that we've really had some good news to give to you, and things are getting a lot better in the economy.
Well, the Babson Capital Economic Forecast, it's sponsored by Babson Capital, and we provide one of our professors, John Connaughton, to present his applied research to the business community.
Charlotte is a good example. I mean, they added, a couple of months ago, they added the second shift to the truck plant in Gaston County. I mean, that's big.
He continually does research on where we are, where we're going, and then he provides this forecast to the general public. So I think the unique nature of that is that there are many economic forecasts, but John does a good job of bringing it back to Charlotte and to North Carolina in general. And I hope that through his forecast it helps businesses to look forward and to make decisions accordingly based on where the economy is going.
As a businessman in the area, and like all of us, I think what we're trying to do is see around the next corner. And John is probably the expert on the state economy of all sources in the community. He gives you figures that you never knew were really in place.
We've gained back almost half the jobs.
So he puts a perspective out there for us individuals who have our own little corner of the world that we don't get an opportunity to see unless we go to his sessions.
People come typically each quarter to kind of follow the trends and determine what they want to do inside their businesses based on those trends.
Staying on top of trends is a must in the business world. We asked John Connaughton to describe some of the trends he's tracked since he started the forecast 30 years ago.
When we started this, North Carolina was, I wouldn't say a manufacturing state, it was the manufacturing state. If memory serves me correctly, back in the early 1980s, more than a third of the state's labor force was involved in manufacturing. So that's what it used to look like, okay? Very small service sector, and now that's almost been flipped. Partly because of what's happened nationally. North Carolina still has a pretty heavy reliance on manufacturing, but it's not a third of the workforce. Okay, it's much, much lower than that now. It's about 12–15%. And today, 40% of the workforce is involved in the service sector. So we've seen a big change in terms of the makeup of the labor force in the state in that 30 years. I think there are two things that have really changed Charlotte in the nation's eyes. Number one was banking deregulation. And at one point in time, Charlotte was headquartered to two of the top 5 banks in the country. And so Charlotte's emergence in the last 15 to 18 years as a banking center has been one of the most dramatic changes. I think a second dramatic change has been Charlotte as a sports town. In 1987, I believe it was, Charlotte became the home to the Charlotte Hornets, the first professional team, and as they say, the rest is sort of history with the Hornets and then also the Panthers that came in 1995 and have really changed the city. The third thing, I guess, that really has changed the city is the airport. And again, just like banking deregulation in the 70s and early 80s led to Charlotte becoming a banking center and one of the few communities that took advantage of that deregulation. Same thing's true with airline deregulation, which also occurred about the same time, late 1970s. As we know, Charlotte now is what, the 7th busiest airport in the nation. I don't think anybody saw that 30 years ago. A lot of what has occurred in Charlotte and changed the dynamic of Charlotte in the last 30 years is still here going forward. And my guess is we will get through this and Charlotte will continue to be the vibrant city of the Carolinas.
Throughout its 30 years, the Economic Forecast has continued to grow relationships between the university and the community.
Well, it's great to have Babson Capital as a sponsor, and it's a perfect example of how the Belk College partners with industry to provide a product that's a value add for business people in this community.
The Belk College wants to do things with the business community. The Economic Forecast is just another example of some of the secrets that the Belk College has that the business community needs to avail themselves of.
Part of our urban mission is we are living in an urban center, and it's very business oriented. It's not just financial services, it's healthcare and retail and energy. So that puts us in a great opportunity to work with business and for them to work with us.
John Connaughton's most recent forecast for Charlotte's economy is positive.
Things are better today than they were 3 months ago when we were here. The economy, folks, is getting better. And I suspect that the forecast that we've presented to you today will in fact hold up regardless of what happens with gas prices and what happens in the Middle East and what happens in Europe. I think that the numbers that we're looking at here, potentially another 2 million jobs nationally, another 50,000 jobs in the state over the year, I think these numbers will hold up fairly well. If anything, if gas prices don't rise too high, if we can stop them around $4, when we come back in June, we'll actually have better news for you. All right, thank you very much, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
'49er football is coming soon to Charlotte, and head coach Brad Lambert has been working hard to build his team, staff, and stadium. He's also been getting to know the community and to recruit a great fan base. Let's check in with Coach Lambert and his staff to see what it means to build a football program from scratch.
It's rising right out of the ground, Charlotte 49ers football. In 2013, the team will take the field. Right now, the coaching staff, led by head coach Brad Lambert, is busy building its team and building its fan base. And key among both efforts, the steel and concrete that will be the Charlotte 49ers football stadium. That steel and concrete will bring folks to campus, and once on campus, it's easy for them to fall in love with what they see.
It's a first-class operation. You know, when I took this job, there was a great plan laid out, and I've gotten to see that come to fruition now. And they'll get that experience when they come on campus. When you pull off from Tryon Boulevard, you come onto campus. This is an impressive part of campus, and it's really, it's an eye-opener for people to come on and see all the new construction and all the growth and expansion that's going on.
Right now, with the first season still a year away, the new folks football attracts to campus are recruits and their families. Soon, it will be 15,000 fans visiting campus, many for the first time. What they see will amaze them.
Well, the first thing is it's just a really beautiful place. I think it's aesthetically appealing to people who come here for the first time. There's a lot of brick, there's a lot of stone capped walls and wrought iron fencing. There's about 1,000 acres of property here that we can utilize in the recruiting process. It's a large place. There's 7,000 to 10,000 students, I think, that live right on campus, and about 15,000 that live about a mile away. And one of the things that I think we had to overcome when we first got here was the perception that we're a commuter school, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. There's a very residential feel here, and it was a big sales pitch for our guys. I think young men want to go to school and have a good academic and athletic experience. They also want to have a good social experience, and I think we can do that here in Charlotte.
While the stadium is going up, Lambert and his staff are out in the community selling their program, not only to prospective players, but also to prospective fans. Lambert has been active in the community, building relationships and winning fans.
We've been to a lot of different events around the city of Charlotte and the surrounding area and counties, and it's been a great reception. The excitement's really high. People ask me a question, what's been the biggest surprise for you? That's probably the biggest surprise, been the excitement around starting football, not only from our students and our alumni, but the community of Charlotte and the different events that we've had a chance to go be a part of, and that's been a lot of fun for me personally. And I've encouraged everybody to come to campus, because a lot of people haven't been out to see this stadium and the new construction that's going on campus. So I've encouraged people to come out and see it and kind of get that reaction that we see out of a lot of people.
Lambert has assembled a strong staff that has been to over 20 college bowl games and has over 85 years of coaching experience to its credit. The 49ers may be a startup program, but the staff is anything but entry level.
When you think about formulating a staff, you want good experience on your staff. You want people that are very relational, that are going to relate to each other well. They're going to groom coaches and players along. So we've got a good mix, and the main thing for me is just what kind of people they are and how they're going to relate to the players and how they're going to lead the players and make them better men and make them better players as well.
Coach always talks about, the quality of having relationships, and first it starts with us as a group, and all the guys that we've hired, we've been tied together in some way, shape, or form throughout our history. And I think we've been very, very fortunate. We've been able to hire a lot of Division I type football coaches here, and really that's been Coach Lambert, in my opinion, best recruiting pitch, is to be able to bring those guys here. But the good news is, prior to us ever getting together, we knew each other. We knew what we were getting into together, and we really wanted to be part of something together, part of something special.
Together, this staff is building history.
I told the recruits the whole time, the power of being first is pretty strong, and I told them don't underestimate that. And so, it's been pretty cool for us as coaches to be the first and to get a chance to build it and do things that we don't normally get a chance to do. Design weight rooms and, place TVs in offices and things like that you just don't have that opportunity to do in another situation. And it doesn't come around, and it's really a once in a lifetime opportunity for me and our coaching staff, and that's kind of what attracted us here.
I joke all the time, the quarterbacks that we're going to coach, you're going to set the all-time passing record in game 1 and break it in game 2, and at the end of the year have a pretty good little record book going. So there's a lot of fun in that. There's a lot of excitement in that, and one of the biggest reasons why we took this job is to be part of that.
The Charlotte 49ers football program has been built from day one with a focus on quality. The coaching staff that has been hired, the first recruiting class that has received rave reviews, the rising stadium that will be a crown jewel on the 49ers campus. Lambert, of course, loves what he sees. He loves the program's forward progress, and he loves the thought of the upcoming fall when he and his staff finally get to do what they do best.
We're all chomping at the bit, and this first class that's coming in is going to get coached pretty hard, I think.
August 20th can't get here soon enough when our guys come to campus and we finally get to have a meeting with them and show them how we want them to run on the field, run off the field, and run from drill to drill, and the way we expect to do things, and in the way we expect to go out and play and represent this university in a first-class manner with how we play and how hard we play. And that's why, I want people to come early, get a feel for what we're all about, and then when you come to a game, we want to field a team that everybody says when they leave that stadium, they're like, we want to go back and watch those guys play. They play extremely hard, and they're a lot of fun to watch, and that's really what we're looking for.
Professor John Daniels and his students in the William States Lee College of Engineering, in conjunction with Idea Center Senior Fellow Christopher Harden, have been researching the leachability of fly ash, a byproduct generated by coal-fired power plants. This research is helping the EPA validate testing methods, and it's helping the power industry find sustainable ways to store and reuse coal ash.
My research on coal fly ash focuses on characterizing the material so that we can reuse it in a variety of applications. Coal's been around for a long time, and currently coal accounts for nearly 50% of our electricity. In this country, we produce a little over 100 million metric tons of ash every year, and this includes all types of ash. A lot of this material is produced, and so the question is, well, what do we do with this material? Air pollution requirements have changed. So we now have much more stringent regulations for sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxides, and other other materials that are released from the combustion of coal. And because of that, the way coal was burned and the way the downstream gases are processed, that changes the quality and character of ash. Secondly, and this is the largest issue perhaps as to why this has become a big issue, is the catastrophic failure at the Tennessee Valley Authority, where a little over 5 million cubic yards of coal fly ash were released from a dike. And because of that, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, which for years has been advocating for the reuse of coal fly ash, began to solicit opinion as to whether coal fly ash should be regulated in a different manner. One of the things that's being done is reevaluating how we test ash for that which is sometimes the principal concern, leachability. Coal comes from the earth. And you know, when you mine coal, when you burn coal, you release trace metals that are also part of the parent geology. So coal fly ash, much like soil, has trace levels of various metals and other constituents, things like arsenic and chromium and selenium, things which we don't want at elevated concentrations in our groundwater. As part of this process of developing a new leaching protocol, my lab is doing some of this testing. And one of the reasons our lab is doing this testing is because we've been involved in leachate testing for years.
I'm doing research on reducing the leachability of coal fly ash, and we're using the new leachability test developed by Vanderbilt University. Method 1313 involves subjecting the ash to different pH levels. So we take 20 grams of ash and put it in a 250 milliliter bottle and add 200 milliliters of liquid. We add base or acid to reach the specific pH levels that they want for each test position. And then when we get done, we can chart what comes out of the leachate based on what the pH level that extracted it.
One of the unique things about UNC Charlotte is our orientation to collaboration in general and with industry in particular. So if you think about the mission of a university, it's several-fold. Of course, there's education, and then there's research and service. On the research side of things, research occurs at many different levels. And so a lot of times we partner with industry to find solutions to problems which exist right now. Now, some of these solutions do in fact require longer-term research endeavors, but one of the unique things about our university, and that you see this play out through our Ideas Center and our EPIC Center, both of them partner extensively with consultants, with industry, with folks at utilities, with all sectors you can imagine, because when you're trying to solve problems, you need the perspective of multiple disciplines, and you also need the perspective of folks in different sectors.
I'm working with Dr. Daniels on just a lot of fly ash type research, and mainly in the areas of leachability and stability for fly ash. I designed one of the first landfills after the Kinston failure, and it was on top of a wet coal ash basin, actually a dry coal ash basin. So I was literally looking for someone who could provide me additional information on the strength parameters, leachability concerns. And as I came to UNC Charlotte and got connected with Dr. John Daniels here, they really have a very strong bench. They've got, I think, 6 or 7 professionals directly involved in doing coal ash, coal combustion ash research. They've also got great lab facilities. But the best thing about UNC Charlotte, I say this a lot, is it's a safe place to think innovative thoughts. You can think outside the box, but it's also a place to get those thoughts grounded with good research and practical application.
Coal, if you look at its usage, is forecasted to, right now it's approximately 50% of our electricity is derived from coal. That's not expected to change significantly throughout my lifetime. Over the next 30 years, we're still expected to burn nearly as much coal as we are today to satisfy our energy demands. And so, but naturally, we need to pursue all forms of energy. Ideally, renewables will take on a greater fraction of our energy mix. But it's important to understand, even if we stopped burning coal today, which by all measure doesn't look like that's going to happen, but even if we stopped burning coal today, because of the amount of ash that is generated, we would still have several billion metric tons of coal fly ash and other coal products distributed throughout the country. And so it's important to understand, how is that material behaving? where can we reuse it? How can we best make use of this material in a way that is sustainable and at the same time meeting real technical challenges?
The Charlotte Venture Challenge is our region's premier business plan competition, organized by the university's Charlotte Research Institute and the Ben Craig Center. This year, for the first time, total competition prize money will top $100,000. Let's take a closer look at this business plan competition and find out what keeps it growing stronger each year.
The Charlotte Venture Challenge started 11 years ago at UNC Charlotte when a group from the university and a group from the business community got together and decided we need to support early stage companies. The competition is designed to provide startups, connections, mentoring, and really identify those best companies in our community that need the resources to help them grow.
It's a place where all the parts of the community come together, the various higher education institutions, other incubators such as PIES and Packard Place. We all have come together around the Charlotte Venture Challenge as a common way to find the best, the most interesting entrepreneurial ventures here locally and to attract those from the surrounding states.
T1 Visions is a technology company that develops solutions and products that use touchscreens, but large format touchscreens in social environments. In restaurants, for example, they're integrated into tables and people can order food from the tables, they can watch videos, look at photos, they can listen to their own music, plug in their own iPad, listen to their music, they can plug in a USB or flash drive and view photos on the tables, the spill out on the tables. In healthcare, they can look at, doctors can show to patients photos on large touchscreens of various things inside their body, photos and videos, and they can then toss them up onto large screens and view them in that way.
CanDag is a University of North Carolina Charlotte spin-off that was founded by Professor Mukherjee about a year ago. And the word CanDag was coined from cancer diagnostics. Our goal is to really bring a breast cancer test to market, an early detection breast cancer for recurrence applications for breast cancer patients. And the vision of CanDag is to really imagine a day when you can just draw a blood sample and tell whether an individual has cancer, yes or not. And if they have cancer, there could be another test that would image the whole body and detect exactly where the cancer is. And finally, moving on to therapeutic applications where you could conjugate the technology behind CanDag, which is an antibody, to a drug and directly target it to the tumor to get rid of it.
The competition's greatest asset is the learning experiences that we provide to teams. We provide teams workshops where teams come in and learn how to develop a pitch, how to develop an opportunity assessment.
The Charlotte Venture Challenge and the Ben Craig Center have worked together for a number of years now. Back in the days when the Charlotte Venture Challenge was known as 5 Ventures, we began a series of workshops designed to help participants in the challenge to be more effective.
We've actually attended every workshop, including last year. They've been very, very beneficial, very knowledgeable speakers, talking on topics ranging from, okay, how do you assess your business opportunity, all the way to what are some of the legal issues, marketing, raising funding. We wouldn't have been able to make the progress we have made without those workshops and the advisors.
We provide mentoring experiences where each mentor actually grades the applications, grades the pitches.
And those mentors donate their time and their expertise, and there's a lot of learning that you get as a new entrepreneur when a veteran business person helps you understand how to make your business work.
We were assigned 4 coaches to help us and met probably 5 or 6 times with the 4 coaches, and they helped us put together a elevator pitch and really helped us hone in on the value proposition of T1 Visions.
The companies that participate in the Venture Challenge have a lot of commercial promise, and so people who are angel investors or venture capital investors view this as a great screening environment.
The exposure is invaluable. Money can't buy that kind of exposure, and money helps too. The prize money has been increased this year, and that's going to be very beneficial.
For the first time ever, the Charlotte Venture Challenge is going to award over $100,000 to the winners of the competition. This is made possible due to the commitment of Batera Capital and a philanthropic family located here in Charlotte. UNC Charlotte trustee David Hooser and his family are committed to building a vibrant entrepreneurial community in Charlotte. This commitment has resulted in a $50,000 investment in the winners of the Charlotte Venture Challenge this year.
You know, I think that innovation really brings new exciting companies and new exciting people to the area, and our family's really excited about that.
Our family has been in the Charlotte area for over 30 years, and both Betsy and I live here now, and we just really want to see the community thrive.
My dad, David Hooser, kind of came up in the corporate ladder, typical 30 years plus the same company, but he's always been so fascinated by entrepreneurs, including myself, and watching their different paths, I guess you could say. And this is his first time being able to participate in that kind of environment. It's very exciting.
The Charlotte Venture Challenge Finals is going to take place after 4 months of preparation by the teams. The finals will be at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, where we'll have a number of teams coming in to pitch their idea for the chance to win a $50,000 investment from a VC firm.
There were a number of investors in the audience, and you received several questions the day before, and then you've got basically 24 hours to prepare. And you stand in front, and it's in front of a group of investors, very much like Shark Tank on TV, and they ask you questions about how you would solve a particular problem.
Following the pitches, we hold a reception where we introduce the teams to the entrepreneurial community. That is attended by over 250 people, and at the end of that, we actually award a $50,000 investment from a VC firm.
After it was done, we had a good start on presentations to present to investors. We were able to raise about $2 million from individuals and angel groups. And most recently, we received a major investment from IMAF, which is a local Charlotte angel fund.
It gave me the opportunity to really come down to 5 minutes of presentation of my technology, which was extremely hard for me to do. It exposed me to the business community, to lots of advisors that then advised me on the company. And Dr. Puri here joined the company as an advisor and really helped with the business side of the company. I wouldn't have been able to do this without the Charlotte Venture Challenge.
When we look out over the next several years, it's our objective to really make the Venture Challenge even bigger. Larger cash prizes so that we can fuel the growth of more companies.
Hopefully we'll end up seeing other, especially the students, kind of evolve here and pay it forward and do the same thing, and it'll almost be a pyramid effect. You know, a couple of the companies grow and they just keep giving back and giving back.
I would imagine several years from now, as a community, we'll say, that's the place you go if you want to start an entrepreneurial venture in the greater Charlotte area.
Thanks for joining us for this edition. You can see more of us on the university's website and on YouTube. And we'll see you again next time inside UNC Charlotte.